And that sound means we are now live here on our YouTube channel, Tackle Trading's Halftime Report, our daily show where we go down the markets one step at a time, looking at the charts, the news, the information, analyze it all, kind of give you guys the insight that we have over here as coaches at Tackle Trading so you can better run your daily routine. It is Monday, 12/28/2020, and belated Merry Christmas to all of those of you out there. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful holiday weekend. Got another one coming up here on the weekend as well. And we do have a shortened trading week around this time of year. Full trading session on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, shortened on Thursday, off on Friday, like normally that it does. We'll be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we're going to start the week off right here on our Monday show. Stimulus bill got signed by President Trump. The markets are applauding it. Markets are up across the board, anywhere from 0.5% to 1% on many of the sectors. A couple of the different areas, though, Apple, Amazon, Google, some of these names are actually starting to cook a little bit. We'll take a look at some of the components, break down all the sectors, look at where the strength is from this news over the weekend. We're going to look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin ran like crazy over the holiday weekend, breaking out, hitting a new all-time high. We'll go look at that chart, talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. But quite very frankly, I'm expecting a pretty quick and efficient show here, having some fun with the tackle trading community. We know it's a holiday week. We know it's holiday trading sessions. We still always run our daily routine, Mark, as traders. That's what we do. We go through our process, we check off our boxes, and we keep moving it forward a day at a time to reach our goals. How are you doing today, Marky? Let's start with you, sir.
Listen, it's beautiful market. I mean, once again, at some point, something bad will happen. And until then, I'm just going to enjoy this gravy train. So it's been nice. It's been nice trading conditions since the election. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot to complain. And listen, it's a holiday week. Money still spends, though, right? Markets open. There could be opportunities, the diligent. But it is going to be a quiet week. I mean, seriously, I was going through last night on our Sunday prep show and outlining the week, and we don't have a lot. We got no IPOs scheduled this week. We have no earnings of any significance. We have really no economic reports. We got no Fed talk. We got the stimulus bill. I mean, what in the world is the market going to trade on this week other than technicals?
Yeah. Well, and the volume should be lighter, based on all of my history in the markets, looking back 15 years of trading. Obviously, this time of year, not a lot of people are actively participating. A lot of people are taking a week off. I don't. I always usually trade the days the markets are open, kind of at least double checking my watch list, updating things, looking for opportunity. I love what you said there. Money does spend, no question about it. But I'm with you. And what will the market run? I mean, it's running on momentum right now, and it's got a nice little start to the week on a Monday. Mark, we did get that passage of the stimulus. Talk a little bit about that, what that means for the market from a theme perspective, and then I'm going to have Cody break down the technicals.
Well, I call it one of those baked in themes, and we could quibble and argue over that a little bit, but like there's that whole one crew, attitude is, the Fed has your back, government spending money, the market makers, the banks and their forecasts, everybody's like bullish, right? Everyone's spending money, creating that like backdrop. Now, can that push markets higher, and can that produce a new theme? I don't know about that, but I do know that as a cash flow trader, I love that backdrop of stability along with some beautiful technicals. Hey, and listen, I said this last night, I'll say it again. Everybody send a Christmas thank you card to the 20-day moving average, because she has been working overdrive for you the last 2.5 weeks. Test, holding like a champ. So that 20-day moving average, send a Christmas card and your best New Year's wishes, because it has helped you out in the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it did hold up here, obviously. And we had that reaction on Monday, a week ago, Cody, where the tail came down below it, but eventually it did come up and close right there. Cody, come on in here. And you are on mute for a second there, sir, but come on in here. I got Cody running screens here today.
What's going on, everyone?
Cody, what you seeing in the chart here? We're testing, pushing for a breakout here on the intraday. What are you reading here?
I'm seeing a potential breakout to close out the day is what we're looking at. So two major areas to look at. So the large number right around 3,700 is the main one, but then the tops of these candles that had poked their head above it are really what we want to see it close. So we see kind of a basing type pattern. It's a little choppy, a little messy, but if we get a close here, as you can see, we already hit and created the new high. So, I mean, take a picture, market's at an all-time high. That we continue to close above this. So this candle on last Monday, the high of that one being 37.24, we've already poked our head above that, and we're already above that by $3 right now. If this were to continue, this would be a confirmation breakout on the market itself, showing the markets do want to run, and why wouldn't they? As Mark said, with Run One Crew being out again, like stimulus going into the markets, things are opening up. You know, last 5 days of the year, the Santa Claus rally, everything's just saying like what's the potential sell? I don't see anything that makes anyone think that this is going to go bearish in the next week by any means.
Well, you know, it's obviously bullish. It's set up for price appreciation here, and we're pushing towards a breakout. So probability analysis would put me on your side of that, Cody, no question about it. In the back of any trader's brain, though, we always know there's something that could derail, you know, a little bit of a rally. Right here, it's looking pretty good. I know, Mark, you have the take on the stimulus that's already kind of been baked in, all that kind of stuff, but there was some chatter over the holiday weekend. Finally, President Trump did sign that legislation, making sure those $600 direct stimulus checks are going to start going out here soon, I believe. The $300 supplemental unemployment benefits are not going to run out. There were some deadlines approaching there. We know how this kind of works, though, and now the market is applauding it. So if we catch a technical breakout just on this little bump here, Mark, couldn't the market run just on technicals for, you know, a little swing
I mean,
move
it could
or
take
something like
another
that?
leg up. It's like the breakout you had a month ago, right? So about a month ago, we had a breakout, and it took that little leg up. I would really like to see that next little leg up. Now, like, you know, when you look at the themes over the last 4 years that have really sustained, I mean, you've had a couple powerful ones. The tax cuts in 2017, you had a beautiful uptrend, just steady, steady, steady. 2019, you had the Powell pivot. So you've had some powerful themes. I mean, valuations are just at such extreme levels. I mean, you're in the 100th percentile, literally the most overvalued in so many different conditions. What is the theme that can send it up and up and up? I don't know. In the short term, though, I would love a little breakout, take that next leg up, clear up a little bit, nice gradual. Listen, I don't mind a little engine that could, you know, in 2021. It doesn't have to go parabolic. Give me just nice little, I mean, just like the last 5-6 weeks, right? Just chug along, chug along. I would love that market. I think that's a healthier market. And, you know, but we need the breakout first, right?
Cody, flash
that leg up.
Cody, flash through the indexes for me if you can. You know, S&P, Dow, Russell, finish on the NASDAQ. It's one that's grabbing my attention quite a bit this morning. But just tell me what you're seeing from a relative strength or weakness perspective.
Well, right away, the fact that you want me to finish on the NASDAQ tells me that you're speaking your book. So we'll see what that looks like. But Dow looks very similar to
Cody
the
looks
S&P
like
500.
he's hosting a podcast at night where he's like, you know, come join Cody for some sultry music and some, you know, like, I don't know what's going on, but
we can talk really low in a nice
like seriously,
night,
man. I like want to break out like some
AM.
candles right now and just be like,
late night AM DJ voice. Let me tell you guys. So what's going on here in the Dow is we're seeing a very
I like it.
sultry Cody.
I do. I like it too much, in fact.
All right, the Dow's got a high base as well. We're looking for that break. We want to see the close. It did pull back intraday, but that pullback intraday, I think, it just had that fast run up right when it started. Came back. It's pushing right back against support, as we all know. Old resistance becomes new support. So we see that we had that strong move right at the market open. We're pulling back into it, but that does not necessarily mean this break is not going to be held. The Russell, which has been the strongest of all the sectors, if we go back to the daily chart, don't even call this a breakout. This is just continuation of the strength that the Dow's had for this entire time. And it's up today. Green candle with the move has not closed below the 9 in over 2 months, which is crazy. And as Tim had requested, let's finish up on the NASDAQ, which I think is getting a lot of strength. We're seeing a lot of strength in the tech sectors where, like Tim had pointed out, Apple, Amazon, Google are all doing really well today. So we can expect that the NASDAQ, being very tech heavy, is going to show a nice move. And we're up 1% on the NASDAQ sector itself, popped right off of that 9 EMA to move up. This is still actively breaking above the level that it needs to. So this isn't necessarily a base like the other indexes are. I would even call this more of a bull flag type pattern that we see on the NASDAQ that's now confirming on the bull flag itself.
Well, and Mark, one thing that I'm always going to be trying to do whenever markets start moving is find where the pockets of strength or weakness are. If there's something within the market internals, I did see the NASDAQ actually. This is a breakout here today, Mark. In fact, and Cody flashed through a couple of these big names. Apple Computer. Apple Computer's up 3% today, 3.14% here this morning. Amazon, and just we'll wait on that chart for just a second. Yeah, you see that? I mean, we're pushing towards that, all-time high mark back there in August before that pre-split where it, hit and tipped that all-time high. Apple's performing very well on this news. Amazon is starting to heat up when this stock had not done much for quite some time, actually. I mean, this stock was kind of one of those stuck in the mud, not really running, not really moving. It's up over 3% today out of the consolidation, looking like it might want to start moving to the, to the upside from a bullish momentum perspective. Facebook, Google also up over 2%, 2.5%. Mark, is there anything here that gets you more excited about the market when the leadership is in the big names?
Yeah, I mean, of course, these are candles, when you're analyzing, because range patterns are really funny. They're really funny. And these are some strong universal candles across the board. I mean, I'm not ready to say, hey, go tech. Eventually tech will have its day, and like Matt always says, bet on the next 10 years, you're going to have some really strong time periods where tech is just leading. I mean, let's just call it what it is. There is an insatiable thirst for tech. Technicals have just taken some time off in recent months where you've had a lot of little mini rallies. So I don't know if this is the rally that gets it going to have the next leg up. The Apple EV news is a real positive theme though, right? That is a genuine theme for the future, and one that is sustainable. I mean, we've seen these type of themes take hold in 2020, and they usually have legs. So that, that news of Apple last week that it's going to get into the EV market,
Did Mark just abbreviate that on his own, or is that actually out there, but he's calling it EV? Like, did Mark just do that himself?
No,
rather than saying
everybody calls it EV. No, I didn't come up with that. Everyone just calls it EV. So electric vehicles, right? So, that's the kind of theme. I mean, we've seen those runs in NIO and Tesla, in all of these EV names. Nikola had its day in the sun before people realized that they didn't make any money at all, literally, like any revenue. So, can it push it higher? I mean, I scour the news every day, every night. There's not really a catalyst per se today other than tech's just having its day.
Having a nice day, no question about it. And by the way, technology did catch an upgrade from us. And let's go through those sectors right now. I mean, this is something that we had identified even starting a week ago or 2 weeks ago. We started watching some of tech starting to move a little bit to the upside. Cody, let's flash through the sectors. One thing we always do on the weekends at Tackle Trading through our newsletter is give them rankings. I want to give the team some updates on what we're seeing in a few of the sectors here. Start with XLK and technology, just because we're on the conversation. Go ahead, Cody.
Let me first start just with a little shameless plug, and I'll make sure I share my entire screen when I do this. Is exactly what Tim's going through is what everyone should be going through on the weekends. This is the Tackle newsletter that runs through and gives the overall market analysis. It's written by Coach Marquise, and everyone needs to be starting with this over the weekend so that they know where we are on our bullish ranking. Here on the halftime report, of course, we always run through the rankings, but you should really read through this newsletter and all the reports, at that matter, before you even get here on Monday morning. But we're happy to do it for you.
Well, and here's the thing, if you stay right there on that screen, we can actually do a pretty quick update. You'll notice that we had moved technology. That's what this green arrow is indicating. We had upgraded it into the 15-yard marker. It is our number one ranked sector from the newsletter perspective from the coaches at Tackle Trading. The dollar is on the -30. It's been bearish for a long time. We'll look at currencies in a minute. Overall market at the 20. So we felt tech was a little bit better than the market. Now we're only seeing that for one day, but it is playing itself out to start the week here. Materials, discretionary, and financials all right there. But I got to tell you, out of those sectors, I'm really interested in the financial sector here on a Monday morning. I saw some pretty interesting names starting to move a little bit. Looks like it might have a breakout. Industrials and communications, we've got at the 25-yard markers. We actually pulled those back about 5 yards, I believe. Energy, healthcare, staples, energy at the 35, still bullish, healthcare at the 40, moving into some degree of neutrality, staples at the 45 in neutrality, and then real estate and utilities at the 50s. And we don't have to look at every one of those charts, Cody, but there's a couple I do want to bring up, especially some of the bigger ones that are starting to move a little bit here this morning. Start with XLK if you can, and let's take a look at these charts. And
there we are. There might be a slight delay that you're seeing.
Just a hair, not a big deal, but we are breaking into a new high here today. I mean, the sector itself is up what is that, Cody? 1.87%, something like that. 1.07%.
1.08.
Pushing towards a new high. Keep flashing through a few of them. Look at materials. XLB.
XLB materials. So it actually it gapped up, and it's actually closing down today. It looks very similar to some of those indexes where it looked like it wanted to break, but this is actually selling off intraday.
Yeah, but it's simple. You don't even need to go to an intraday chart.
No.
We're waiting on a breakout there,
Exactly.
So we're waiting on a breakout on materials. We're looking for that. And by the way, when I'm waiting on a breakout on the broad sector, it gets me more interested even at looking some of the individual components within that sector, because then when you finally get your trigger, your signal, you can start to push on that a little bit. Look at industrials, XLI, some of these areas that are grabbing my attention.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
The break point on this is very clear. 1, 2, 3, 4 points that hit it. The break point at actually 5. Look at this wick over here. That's a very clear above 72.41. Call it 72.50. Would be a very clean, easy entry on this chart.
And really the last one, we can look at XLI real quick if you want to, but I really want to talk about financials, Mark, because, I saw Bank of America, saw Wells Fargo, there's several Canada's. Berkshire Hathaway was on our stock report over the weekend. The financial sector and XLI, we're still waiting on that breakout. But Mark, the financial sector is looking like a breakout here today, and there's some interesting names in here. What's your read on sectors, Mark? Are you interested in financials here?
Yeah, no, I mean, anytime, like, when you have big moves up, for me, it is a absolute, like, I do not chase blind momentum unless you have a cooling off period. I mean, you look at charts as much as I do over the years. Yeah, every once in a while, something just keeps going parabolic, right? But that's not the odds. Most of the time you need a breather. You got a breather over the last 3 weeks in financials. One of those rotating themes had the nice run up after the vaccine, took some time off. Financials I like for another leg up here. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm interested in the financials, and even just look at a couple of those components I talked about here, Cody, like Berkshire Hathaway. Bring up Berkby. Berkby was a candidate on our stock report over the weekend. If you're a pro member of Tackle Trading, make sure you go through all those reports thoroughly. I like the action and the move here. It's looking pretty healthy on a Monday, getting above the moving averages, getting above some key locations and whatnot. Wells Fargo was also a candidate on our weekend reports. If you take a look at WFC, we're threatening a breakout here.
That's the one that I pointed out on Thursday. That was my trade, and I still like it.
It's still looking good. Kind of healthy development in that regard. Bank of America looking healthy. So finance and tech are kind of grabbing my attention here on a Monday, among others that I'm still waiting on breakouts are. But there are pockets of strength and weakness, or even neutrality in this market. And, definitely the sectors can help us identify that. Let's flash through the commodities next, if we can here, Cody. Crude, gold, silver, and the dollar. I want you to give me a technical read on all 4 of those. Then we'll chat about all of them. Okay.
Crude's still pushing up against 50. It's slowing down a little bit here. I think we're seeing a lot of rotation and other things, even though crude did finally start doing something after its entire year of basically taking the year off, doing next to nothing. We're seeing that movement. It really needs to push through and break that 50 mark, even if it were to get above this previous pivot high. I think that 50 is too close. I think the real trigger on oil is about $50. For gold, we're seeing just a pause again in the markets. Money's rotating in other places. Like, this is a risk on type environment where Matt had pointed out the reverse head and shoulders that were happening, but you need the break of that neckline, and that neckline is right around $1,900. So at that break of $1,900, then we can actually see some movement in gold. You mentioned silver, which is kind of the little brother of gold. It likes to follow the pattern, but always do some weirder things at different times. Silver has a nice move today. I actually kind of like the silver chart a little bit more than gold right now, to be
There's
completely
been
honest.
some relative strength in silver for a bit, though. I mean, the one thing, though, and I say this all the time on my weekend shows, silver and gold have traded together in recent months. That is not the norm. I mean, silver and gold do not trade in tandem. The algos traded them in tandem for a little while. Eventually, you have different charts, you have different trends, you have different setups. Silver's been showing some relative strength recently.
Mhm. Yeah, I like the relative strength here as well, and I know that we've got silver, kind of our eye on this. Obviously, as the developing pivot points are turning around, you had clear support there at 22 for a couple months. Started putting a higher low there at 24, and a little breakout test here. So yeah, I'm seeing a little bit of relative strength there in silver as well, guys. I'm with you on that. And then the dollar really not doing anything, kind of just stuck down on the bottom of that chart, and kind of some hesitation candles, no doubt about it. Cody, what are you seeing in the dollar as well?
I still love what I'm seeing in the dollar. I really do like the overall momentum. So we didn't get a clean bear flag break, but it's kind of holding up. But when you look at all of the fundamentals and the things that are coming out, there's nothing that really gives the US dollar strength other than an open economy. So I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago on the Forex report that I talked about how there's, when it comes to US dollar strength, there's two factors that are fighting against each other. One is the stimulus package that's obviously going to inflate the US dollar, which is going to drive it down. The other one is the reopening of the economy thing. And with the vaccine coming out, the question is, how soon does the economy open? Because now with most fiat currencies, they're all based in the GDP of the overall country that the currency is in. So you can inflate the currency, but also if the economy is open and in full force, then that adds strength to the currency. So I think that we have these two battling themes between the inflation of the US dollar and between the idea that the economy might open back up, which can then add to the GDP, giving strength to the US dollar. So I think it's still, pushing bearish, just looking at all the technicals, but the idea of why or how fast it's going to move has those two fighting ideas back and forth as to what's going to happen. That doesn't mean there's not really good trades in the Forex market. I pointed a bunch of them out over the weekend. So if you need some Forex trades, there are some really good ones out there. And I'll give you a quick sneak peek on my favorite is the Euro Japanese yen crosspair. That high base is so clear and clean. I love this chart. So that's a little sneak peek. If you want more like this, guys, go check out the Forex report.
Well, absolutely. And that Japanese yen, euro yen crosspair here, Cody. One thing I love about it on any chart is very clean entry points. When you know where the breakout point is, you can start to build and map a trade using step system principles. So definitely good eye on that one. I did not see that euro yen crosspair. So yeah, review that Forex report over the weekend. By the way, one of the big ones that I think we probably could have led with here, Mark, is Bitcoin. And let's take a peek at Bitcoin here, Cody, if you can.
Oh, do we have to? I mean,
we absolutely have to. This is not. It is not up for debate. We absolutely have to.
I know, I'm joking, but this is a 15% move. Yeah. Tim,
Now,
go.
Listen, Santa was delivering presents all weekend to the crypto crowd, so it was nice price movement. Tim, and explain a little bit about Bitcoin, how it moves. Because we look at the futures chart a lot, but Bitcoin market. I mean, I was watching it over the weekend, Christmas, Saturdays. I mean, it was just continue. I mean, it was having a wild ride.
Same thing like with the S&P 500. If you look at, for example, the ES contract, it's a continuous contract when the futures markets are open, right? And so the futures market is not open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for all products, obviously. I mean, S&P even closes on Saturdays, reopens on Sunday afternoon when the Australian markets open up. On Bitcoin, very similar type of schedule in that regard. So when you have holidays, the futures market for Bitcoin literally is not trading. It's closed. Just, the CME is not processing transactions through their Bitcoin exchange. So it's like, boom, you look at it, you see a gap, but that's not really what happened. It literally traded throughout the entire holiday because Bitcoin exchanges around the world, they don't have the same rules as the futures market does. So futures trading on Bitcoin was closed. It comes back on a Monday. You see the gap, but Bitcoin had a nice little 4-day rally, quite frankly. I mean, it ran on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, through the weekend. And actually, it's even hesitating here today a little bit after the 4 days. So it can give you a little bit of a misnomer in that regard, Mark, if you don't understand how futures scheduling works. But Bitcoin and all the crypto nerds, we are all cheering this, obviously. I mean, it's been an incredible run. And for the life of me, I was sitting here scratching my head over the weekend, like, outside of momentum, sentiment, is there news on Bitcoin? And I couldn't find anything. A lot of people are attributing this, Mark, just as a holiday kind of euphoria. People around the Christmas table at dinner talking about how Bitcoin's heating up again, and you're starting to get that public participation to come in. And we know the investor theme has been there, Mark. So the investor theme for 2, 3, 4 months about mass adoption and, building it into PayPal and Square's platforms and all that kind of stuff has started cooking some of this rally over the last several months, but now the retail traders are coming back a little bit as well. I find it just to be fascinating. By the way, it's not just Bitcoin running. Ethereum had an incredible 4-day stretch, went from 550 a coin to 730 a coin. Bitcoin also performing very, very well. Mark, what do you do with this now? I mean, how do you start building or approaching Bitcoin? Let's say if you're looking at it for the first time.
Listen, I mean, I play the ancillary, the other products, the miners and such. I added exposure on the breakout through long dated, lower level naked puts. That's my gig. That's how I do. That way I can blah, blah, blah. If it keeps running, I make money on those puts. If it comes back, I have a position that I can perhaps manage. That's how I've been doing it. That's how I've been doing it for 3 months. It's treated me very well. I'm going to rinse and repeat until that doesn't work anymore. So,
by the way, some of those products like the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, right, blockchain, those other types that are the ancillary products. Obviously, I mean, I did read a stat here this morning, Mark, that from 2019 at the end of the year, there was 2.57 billion invested in those type of products in the market. Now they've had a great year. So now there's 15 billion more of funds that have come into those type of products for people who want exposure to Bitcoin. So it's been an explosive rally in that regard. And we are seeing money moving into different parts of this market. It's really interesting to watch.
I think there were a lot of words there that could be summed up in one sentence.
Okay.
High base breakout.
High base breakout. It did do that, and it did it on Christmas. Santa brought a present for sure.
Yeah, you don't, again, just like y'all explained, that you don't see the move over the weekend, but on those coin-based platforms, it was a simple trigger, break, and move. High base breakout.
It's been a clean chart and it's been running for a bit now, and it's obviously starting the week out on a very, very strong note over the holiday weekend. And then the last thing, guys, I got a couple of stock items that I did want to go through here today on a Monday, just kind of one of those deals. There's not a lot of news. There's not a lot of economic reports even scheduled this week. So we're going to find what is important and break it down. The one stock I think we have to talk about is Alibaba, and Mark, Alibaba just literally a new Christmas Eve broad crackdown from, the People's Bank of China. I believe they looked into some of their, affiliates and things that they were doing within their business. They want Alibaba to focus on their main payments
let's simplify
business.
It. Yep. Now you can get all that. Let's simplify it. Jack Ma did something that really pissed off the powers that be in China. He did something, his rhetoric and this and that. They came in hard. Like, I'm a dip buyer. Listen, when you have a centralized economy and the people at top, there is no one crew there. There is, we're going to punish you crew. And this is one of those complete stayaways for me as far as dip buying, as far as looking until there's more clarity. Because whenever the man wants to come down, they can. And that might be occurring here. And so I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of fire where there's smoke here. And people in Baba should be very, very careful.
Well, that's the biggest difference as you're talking about. The one crew here in the United States is the government and everything adding money to it. China, you don't want to be against the government, and that's the mistake they made here. You don't want to be against the government because they're not going to help you out like the U.S. government helps out here.
Mm-hmm. No, there's a power play here. Jack Ma is one of the richest men in the entire world. Perhaps he stretched his ability a little bit, because while he might be one of the richest men, it's still China, and it's still a communist regime, and
Yes.
it's still a centrally planned economy. And so he did something to make him mad.
Well, the only thing I could find on the Jack Ma front is he was lobbying some criticism against the Chinese government for their financial regulations.
Which is what you
That's all
can't
it
do in a
takes,
communist.
man.
You can't do that in a communist country. You can't
I mean,
talk bad
like-
about the communist government in a communist
That's all.
country.
I mean, it
They
don't
will
take much
punish
more
you.
than that.
But
You know?
by the way, just to the halftime crew out there, if you don't know Jack Ma's story, you should look it up. It's an amazing story. Like,
100%.
look up Jack Ma's story, because it's amazing. The amount of struggle he went through, and then he built this company to become, like Mark was saying, one of the richest billionaires in the world. Look up his story. It'll make your day.
Mm-hmm.
No, so like, listen. I mean, if you want, I mean, I saw, because this story broke on Thursday, on Christmas Eve, and of course, one of the most highly traded stock on Robinhood was Alibaba, because hey, it's a dip. Let's buy. Listen, buying dips have treated people very, very well. Eventually, I think there will be an opportunity, but man, there's a lot of unknowns on this one. This is one of those be careful ones.
Yeah. So you're approaching it obviously with the caution you're talking about.
I'm not touching it. Like, approaching it with caution is one thing. Not touching it's another. I'm not touching this.
Big stock though, guys. I mean, even if you don't touch it, don't play it, it might have implications just about Chinese tech in general, things like that, Mark. I mean, I don't think the analysis on BABA is simply, do you want to buy BABA or not? Because of how big this represents, like in FXI, other ETFs, other plays that might have some, correlated effects to it. So I think it's an interesting thing, and I think we've got to really keep an eye on it, quite frankly. I think we have to.
Whoa.
That's XFI.
Isn't that? Oh, I thought you said XFI. And I was like, what is this?
No, Freeport X-ray Industry. If you're looking for the FXI chart. Yep.
Oh my God. I whatever that other chart was, I don't know what happened there, but
and Mark, I mean, look at that. That's a deeper pullback at a time where the US market, US stock market is running like crazy. Quite frankly, I'm seeing breakouts across many indexes, not just in the US, across the globe. And yet FXI, because of this BABA thing, is kind of having this volatility and deeper pullback. So any last thoughts on that, Mark?
No, just listen. I mean, once again, 2020 has taught some really bad habits. And one of them is that every dip is to be bought. Like, that is going to change. Eventually, some stocks will be in downtrends that are longer than 4 days, right? So don't have those bad habits. Evaluate when something dips, evaluate it, see if it's a good opportunity, if it carries opportunity, or if it carries with it just too much risk. I think this is the latter on that one.
And by the way, hashtag Team Tackle in the chat there. I saw Linda. I do appreciate that. It's a wonderful reminder, as always. We're a community, we're a team here. That's the news for today, and that's actually what's been going on in the markets. Kind of broken down one step at a time. I do want to move into final thoughts. Mark, make sure that you kind of make everybody aware of our programming for the week. Kind of just talk about what we're going to be doing over here at Tackle Trading for the week. But Marky, let's go into final thoughts. You're up.
Cash Flow Club, instead of Thursday night, because that's New Year's Eve, we're going to have that on Wednesday night. Coach's Show tomorrow night. We're going to have a stellar podcast release today. We're going to have our Trade Masters here on YouTube on Wednesday. Traders Lounges, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then we got New Year's Day, where we're going to take off on Friday. But we're going to move that Cash Flow Club up so we don't miss it 2 weeks in a row because of the holidays. And we're going to have that on Wednesday night this week instead.
And you can find all of that on the events calendar, by the way, if you're a pro member at Tackle Trading. We're going to be busy, for the next 3 days, no doubt about it. We've got a lot to do. In fact, we're going to be podcasting here today, like Mark talked about. Cody, come on in here. Final thoughts from you, sir.
My final thoughts is I hope everyone's had a wonderful Christmas, happy holidays. And this is one of those times every year that you need to take a little bit extra time and look through your previous year. Look through 2020. As Mark was saying, it's not going to be the same next year. But journal out and make sure you understand, what did you do correct that you love this past year, and what did you do wrong? And one of the easiest pieces of advice I can give someone is, rather than trying to or like improve and become so much better in one skill, it's a lot easier to eliminate the bad skills, the bad habits. Are you entering trades too early? Are you breaking rules? If you were to simply eliminate the things that are costing you money, then you'll be better off than trying to greatly improve another skill. Start with what you are doing wrong, what you're not, what you don't want to do, the mistakes that are made, and eliminate those first. And moving into the new year, I think is a perfect time to look back on 2020 and say, what were the rules that I broke? What were the mistakes that I made? What were the bad trades? What were the things that cost me in 2020? Because you look at what happened in the market in 2020, and I'm going to do this on a weekly chart really to compare, is once this chart loads, yes, we had that big drop. But if you, as a trader, started catching this momentum going up, it was a hard market to lose money in. It really was. But we all have money that was lost. And the question is why? Figure out those questions, eliminate those things, and 2021 will treat you very well. Those are my final thoughts.
I do think it's always a good time of year for reflection, obviously, and planning and goal setting and all those types of things. And as I'm looking at the end of the year here, Cody, one thing I will be doing this week is looking at the year, evaluating it, and setting some goals, financial goals, personal goals, all that kind of stuff for 2021. I know it's cliche, Mark, but I do it every year, and I am one of those cliched people when it comes to goal setting around the first of the year. And I'll be going through that exercise here this week as well. My final thought is simple here, guys. We're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to be back Wednesday. We're going to be doing, our content as the markets are open. We're going to have a lot of fun this week, but just, spend some time with your family, take some time off, kind of decompress a little bit and recharge those batteries out there. Team Tackle, I think it's an important time to do it and get ready to start hitting those goals and whatnot. Interesting market. Looks like we're pushing there. Guys, that's our show for today, Monday, 12/28. If you are not yet a pro member of our community and you want to go and start a course or come and join our nightly webinars or whatever that might be, I just dropped a link in the chat, 15-day trial to Tackle Trading. It's a standard offer. We've had it for a long time. If you wanted to come test out what we do, come and join us in the pro community. We would love to have you. Team Tackle, have a wonderful week. Great job on a Monday here, guys. Cody, appreciate you. Mark, appreciate you. Tanya, great job hosting.